so much easier to go live. Can I switch the camera? Okay. I think that's going... I'm gonna have to watch myself. Oh, that's fun. Okay. Oh, it's a little bit behind. That's alright. Hang on. It's so weird. I'm like watching myself and it's like behind. It's freaky. Anyway, I probably won't do this for too long. And I don't know if a lot of people would join because the majority of the people I know online are British. And I know it's late as frick for them, so... I'm just hanging out. Probably gonna put some socks on because my feet are cold. And I don't want to accidentally show my feet on the internet for free. Oh, I forgot that I was watching it. I was like, I have one watcher already? That's crazy. And it's me. I love that. All my cats have abandoned me. They're mad that I use them for clout on another live stream. They're like, no, we're not gonna help you on this live stream. You've already used up our love today. I don't know though, Nico's right here. Hi, Nico. It's okay, nobody's here yet. Okay, I don't know. I was like gonna do something productive with my night. And then I kind of just wasted time on that other stream. And now my brain doesn't want to do anything else, so I'm just hanging out. Oh, you know what? It would be fun to do my makeup. Maybe. Maybe. Well, oh, 3 people are watching. Hi. I did not realize that y'all were here. Hi, John. Okay, so it's a few minutes behind, so I can't tell if Nico's in... Okay, she is. Hi, baby girl. Say hi to John. Say hi to Theres. Look at the baby. She's so adorable. I love her so much. Are you just a baby? So what is up, you guys? Yeah, that was fun. I kind of wish I hadn't done it. Because, you know, again, it's like most people like that kind of just do it for attention. So, you know, kind of feeding into that a little bit. It was kind of just an impulse join. And now I'm like, at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know. When you have somebody like that who turns people's, like, genuine pain and genuine ideologies that are hurting people into just content fodder, it just sucks that, especially in today's environment, that's really commonplace for people to just think, oh, whatever, you know, yeah, I'm actively giving these things a platform, but it gives me attention and likes, so it's all cool. At the end of the day, this doesn't matter, right? And it's like, it does, because at the end of the day, those people vote, and when that ideology spreads and they vote, it does actively hurt us. So, yeah, at the end of the day, there is no version on the internet, I think, nowadays, where you genuinely can just do stuff for attention and it doesn't hurt anybody. That's not possible. Because at the end of the day, when you spread that stuff, you spread that stuff. You are actively responsible in that, so... Let me read the comments. When he started hitting on you, I wanted to die. Yeah, it was a little awkward. I think I was more just uncomfortable when he brought up touching himself. That was a little out of base. And also, hi, Shrek Swag. Let me sub your channel, or let me figure out how, first of all. I hate YouTube controls, but because you seem pretty cool from the stream. Also, if I look down this way, it's because I'm, like, paying attention to my stream that's on my computer, but my phone is up there. Because my YouTube setup is never that professional, so... I have no idea what stream you were on, so now I'm just seeing out of context clips of Siri trying to play Luna. Yeah! The second his Alexa started going off, I was like, I have to take advantage of this. And I got so mad watching that clip back because she did start playing a Luna song. I believe it was the song Need You from the recent comeback album, Flip That, which you should all check out. And I didn't notice, like, I was talking over it, but I think if I had, like, not been talking, that his Alexa would have been playing a Luna song for a genuine bit of time, and that would have been my shallow content bit for the night. So it's a shame that I didn't pick up on that happening. So now I'm basically just hanging out. I believe someone wanted to see a DVD collection. I don't have that many DVDs. I can bring them over because, again, my phone is, like, on my screen or whatever, so perhaps I will do my Doctor Who DVDs. They're kind of jumbled. The first one I have is one of my favorite bits of Doctor Who media of all time, and that is the TV movie. Again, I can't really tell if this is... Okay, it is in frame. Congratulations, me. The TV movie is one of my favorite parts of Doctor Who. No, it's not that great, but it really believes in itself, and it's really wacky and fun, and I will never not love the performances and just the idea and just the whole thing. Like, I don't think I could count how many times I've seen the TV movie. It's just genuinely such a fun adventure. They're Blu-rays, not DVDs. I don't own enough DVDs to make that. I'm sorry. Another Blu-ray. I got a bunch of the collection Blu-rays off of eBay, so that was cool. I'm trying to get more of them, but they're so expensive, and it's like... yeah, they're just expensive. I don't know where I was going with that. But I have Tom Baker season 7. And that's a good one. I mainly just like Lalla Ward. And that's not to say... That sounded like I don't like Tom Baker. That's not true. But season 7 I like primarily for Lalla Ward's episodes. I just love her as Romana so much. This is one I actually haven't touched yet. Again, I got most of these off of eBay. Some of them were in, like, a lot, so I got multiple of them in one go, which was kind of, like, the ultimate grab because they're so expensive. But that is Sylvester McCoy season 3. And I do need to get into this more. My Blu-ray thing, like, actually broke, so I have to get a new one, and I just haven't gotten around to doing that yet. Tom Baker season 1 is another one. And then one of my favorites is season 3, because that has Leela in it, and Leela is one of my all-time favorite companions. Yes, Cliptic says, even if the movie's not that good, you can't deny it's a bloody, entertaining watch. It really is, because there's so many iconic moments. Like, there's touching moments, like the scene with the shoes, but also just like, this is an ambulance! And I met Eric Roberts at Gallifrey 1. I got to meet him, and it was like the greatest moment, because I was just sitting there, and all I could think of was how many times I've seen the TV movie. And I'm like, this man is in front of me. And then he called me a babe. I think he gave me a high five, or maybe that was somebody else. But just meeting him was great. I got his autograph and a picture with him. And he just seemed like a really cool guy. Like, I was waiting in line to get his autograph and then to get his photo, and he was just so nice to everybody that showed up and would have like a brief convo with them and would just kind of say like respect, and it was just he just seemed really great. So that was like that was really cool. Ben Miller says, who is your favorite Doctor and companion? Mine is the 9th Doctor and Rose Tyler. Favorite Doctor, I feel like for New Who, I always lean towards Peter Capaldi. I do really like all of the Doctors, genuinely. But I think Peter Capaldi always has kind of like that really special place in my heart, because he was like technically my first Doctor. I started the show New Who from the beginning, so the Ninth Doctor was technically my first. But Peter Capaldi was my first Doctor in the sense that I started watching as soon as he became the Doctor, essentially. So right around late 2013. And so it kind of felt like as I was really getting into Doctor Who and as that became a major part of my life, Peter Capaldi's Doctor was there. And it was like I had binged all of the other seasons of New Who up till that point, so I kind of knew all the spoilers and like what was gonna happen and everything like that, and I just kind of binged it in like a really quick go. But Peter Capaldi's era was the first time that things kind of slowed down, and I was watching it in real time, and I really got to start participating in fandom and in the show. And during the hiatuses, all the theories, all the discussion, all that. And so I kind of just, I grew very, very attached to Peter Capaldi's Doctor. And of course, his performance is amazing. I love the transition from super grumpy to like grumpy, but also really kind and wholesome. Companions, Romana and Leela, definitely right off the bat. New Who. I feel like with New Who, I do like Clara. I do. I feel like a lot of people are gonna disagree with me, but I like her a little bit more in the 8th and 9th seasons. I just think she becomes a little bit more interesting, and I really like her and Peter Capaldi's dynamic more. I really like Martha. I don't know. I feel like with New Who companions, it's a little bit harder to pick. Sorry, my cat is clawing at my chair. Kevin, Kevin. Because New Who to me, even though there's eras, it feels a bit more like one entity, whereas Classic Who really kind of feels a little bit more separate. It's hard to explain. But sorry, I just went off on the longest tangent. Just started watching Battlefield. I still have to watch that one. I'm all over the place with Classic Who. There was a time where I was, for my channel, going to watch it chronologically. And then it kind of just became like, I just didn't end up vibing with it when I actually, like the concept I was very excited to do, but when I got to actually doing it, it just kind of phased out for me. So I kind of just jump around a lot with classic Doctor Who just because it's fun and you can. I mean, you can go from watching a 3rd Doctor episode to watching a 7th Doctor episode and be fine. And it just feels really fresh and really fun that way. Okay. Has it really been 26 years since the movie came out? I say that like I wasn't born in 2002, but it still feels like the 90s being 30 years away doesn't feel real. Any theories for the 60th? I don't know. I have not been keeping up a whole lot. I check out Theories Leak videos once in a while, and I kind of keep up with everybody's news on Twitter, but I try not to delve into theories too much, because then I find, like, this is just a personality flaw that I have, that if I get too invested in a theory, then I get disappointed if it doesn't happen, and so I try to keep myself away from that. I know it's, a lot of people say, oh, just don't set yourself up for disappointment. For me, it just feels inherent. Like, if I get really hyped about a theory, then I'm like, I can almost visualize it in my head to the point where it feels real, and then when it's not, I'm kind of just like, oh, damn, I can't believe they didn't do that, even if, like, why would they? It's their show. Matt Eccleston earlier this year. Lucky. Hopefully, I do plan on going back to Gallifrey 1 next year for 2023, and I'm really hoping he's there. Like, fingers crossed, him and Jodie and Sean Carlson, who plays Narvin in the Gallifrey series, I'm, like, really hoping those 3 are there, because I would love to meet them. Okay, Cliptic said, I don't think Clara's as bad as people say. I really don't either. I mean, I can kind of see why, like, where people are coming from a little bit. I mean, I think the problem is the Doctor and Clara's relationship became a little bit unhealthy, and to me, like, it's not like I'm rooting for that, but it is an interesting story, and it is interesting to kind of see her character change and kind of adapt to become like the Doctor, and seeing how we kind of see those characteristics in the Doctor as, like, this cool, epic thing, but then when somebody else does it, we kind of have to question, like, is it? Like, I'm going off on a tangent again, but I think a lot of people just kind of maybe had a harder time connecting with that darker, more unhealthier tone of that relationship, which again makes sense. Like, I don't judge anybody for disliking Clara. I just think that there's a lot of people that give her a bad rap. Um, Day of the Doctor was the first Doctor Who you saw? Like, the first episode ever? That's crazy. I can't imagine how wild that would be, because you watch, like, 3 doctors meet up and then do all this stuff with the Time War, and then you start from the beginning, and it's, like, the lead up to that. That would be crazy. I started watching it, I believe, a little bit before Day of the Doctor came out, because this was back in the golden days when Doctor Who was still on Netflix. And I remember watching it, finishing it, and then Day of the Doctor got added. So it must have been sometime around 2013 I got into the show. Kevin has a hole in my chair, and he likes to climb inside of my chair. And so if you see me, like, go like this, it's because Kevin is actively inside of my chair. And I don't know why he does that. I don't know why he does a lot of that he does, but that's just the adventures of being a cat mom, I guess. Okay, where were we? Are you going to be sad to see Jodie Whittaker go? Yes. I think I'll be sad, of course, in the sense that I get sad when any regeneration leaves. I think the reason why I'm more sad about Jodie leaving is because it just doesn't feel like she got what she deserved with her era, and so I feel like I'll always be like, oh, they should have done this with Jodie, or they should have done this, or they should have done this. Like, I don't think that will ever leave, and so I think that's what makes me sad. I'll cry if there's not an epic rap battle between Eric Roberts and John Sim in the 60th. I can recite some epic rap battles of history by heart, so I would love to see that. I think I would cringe, but then I would learn it by heart. Jean says, I want to try and go next year. Please do. I posted my Gallifrey vlog from earlier this year, and Gallifrey 1, and it really was just, like, the best experience. Like, I started out going there, and I was just sitting there like, holy crap, I know nobody. What am I gonna do all weekend? I'm just gonna, like, not talk all weekend. What is this? And then by the end, I had, like, a ton of new friends. Everybody was super amazing. You just, like, run into the cast and, like, people all the time. Like, Sylvester McCoy was just, like, getting drinks with people in the lobby. I ran into Sacha Dhawan, like, 3 times, and then ended up missing his, like, photo session that I had already paid for, so that was unfortunate. But you just, like, it's just so normal. Like, normally you go to comic conventions and there's so much security and everything's kind of blocked off, and you kind of have this, like, set area where you can and can't go. But Gallifrey 1 really just feels like you're kind of just hanging out with a lot of people, sometimes the cast included. Again, a lot of the cast, which I think is really cool that they feel this way, they feel comfortable just going up into the lobby and mingling with people, and so it's a really great experience. Cliptic said, oh yes, Netflix, now I'm crying. It really is a shame. I am a firm believer that the second that they took Doctor Who off of Netflix, that was, like, a big killer for its popularity in America, because when it was on Netflix and when it got taken off, that was back in the day where Netflix was, like, kind of the only streaming service. So it wasn't like there was, like, people had other streaming services at the time to just jump onto. Whereas nowadays, if you take it off of Netflix, it's kind of just like, okay, I'll just watch it on the other streaming service and steal somebody's password. Back in the day, it was like, oh, it's off Netflix, we just can't watch it. So that was a shame. Like, okay. So Jedi, who was the one who said that he saw the 50th first. I never watched it before. After looking it up, I decided we're so far into Matt Smith, I'll wait till the next one to start. That's amazing. So when did you go back to watch the rest? Or did you just kind of, like, did you just start with Capaldi and then just wait, like, years to go back and do the rest? Or how did that work? And then moving on, because I talk very fast, I'm sorry. Ben Miller said, which scene from Doctor Who made you feel sad? A lot of them. A lot of them, but I think more more scenes from the Capaldi era purely because I think I mentioned a lot of the stuff in New Who before the Capaldi era I got spoilers for, because I was on Tumblr at the time. Tumblr is what inspired me to check out Doctor Who, so it kind of became this thing where, like, I would just see spoilers on Tumblr all the time, like Amy and Rory's exit scene, Rose's exit scene, and so I kind of already knew what happened, so I still felt sad, but I was, like, prepared for it. I think a scene that made me really sad in the Capaldi era, so many. I think one that sticks out, like one that popped in my head immediately, was the scene where the Doctor and Clara are fighting, and he says, like, do you think I love you so little that betray, or he says, sorry, that was the shipper in me. He says, do you think I care for you so little that betraying me would make a difference? And that scene just, like, stabbed me in the heart and didn't take me to the hospital. Like, that quote lives in my mind and my soul and my heart. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, some talk about Big Finish with Jodie. I feel like they will bring her on board. I don't know, especially because she did that Doctor Who Redacted. I can't see her not doing it. You know what I mean? Like, clearly she's open to the audio format. And I think, I don't know, I think she loves the role and approaches the role with so much energy and love that I feel like she'd do it. If they got a good script for her, I feel like she'd do it. I mean, she did just have a kid, so she'll probably, you know, I'd assume she'll probably spend some time with them, and then obviously I'm sure there's legal things with the license and waiting for that to happen, but I'm sure that the second they wanted to get her on board, if the script was good, if she vibed with it, I feel like she'd do it. So I have a lot of hope that Jodie will end up in Big Finish one day. I always cry at Twice Upon a Time, despite what people think about it. I do too. To be honest with you, I don't think I've watched that episode since it came out, just because, again, I didn't vibe with it just a little bit, just because of the random, like, weird sexism jokes. I don't know, it felt weird. But because it made me so sad, because it's like my doctor is dying. But oh, his ending speech. That's another scene that just lives in my heart. His ending speech is, I think, on par with Matt Smith's with the best regeneration speech. I think it ended up being my senior quote because I loved it so much. I had to find Blu-rays because I don't have whatever streaming service. If you, oh gosh, I forget. I'm pretty sure you're American. I keep forgetting who is American and who is British. It's like Among Us. It's like Among Us, but so many people are British or from the UK that it's like I have to suss out the other Americans. Like, I really do. If you are American and you have access to a Walmart, usually Walmart has, I mean, you might have the DVDs at this point, but Walmart has like whole eras of the Doctor Who show for $20. Which I was actually doing a DVD tour a little bit ago, and then we got, like, so off track. I showed you all my Classic Who DVDs, or maybe I didn't. But Walmart sells these collections of New Who for, like, I think they're $20 each. So this is Christopher Eccleston through David Tennant. So this is the first 4 seasons of the show, plus all the specials, and this was $20. Which is a pretty good deal, in my opinion. And then they have a box set for Matt Smith, which was also $20. So again, that's about 3 seasons plus the specials. And then Peter Capaldi. And they might, I feel like if they have the rights to do it, they'll probably do a Jodie Whittaker one, and that'll kind of complete the set. Okay, hang on. Oh, we got a comment that was left for review. Spicy. Oh, we got an Australian. Hi! I'm gonna show that one. Ben Miller said to hell with people like him. I feel like it's Bullstreck, but I always say it as Bowelstreck. And Nerdrotic, yeah, those guys they're a nasty bunch. um, oh yeah, I do want to mention Sir Jedi Sentinel said that these don't come with bonus features. That is the downside, is that it doesn't come with any of the bonus features. But I feel like if you're just, you said Australian correctly, thank you. Ooh, gold star. I do have some other, this is a relic. This was the first Doctor Who DVD that I ever bought. This is the Deep Breath DVD. I think I got this for like $10 from Target, which again, $10 for a single episode. I'm kind of like, why did you do that? But when they took the show off of Netflix, this was like the only Doctor Who that I had access to. And just in general, Deep Breath is one of my favorite episodes of the show, so I can't say I regret the purchase too much. I do have a couple of other DVDs. The thing is, like, Doctor Who stuff is very hard to get a hold of in America these days. I mean, obviously there's, like, Amazon, ordering online, but in terms of going into a store and finding it, it is significantly harder than it was in 2013. It's crazy. I have the 11th series. I don't have series 12 or 13, again, because it's kind of hard to get a hold of. And then this is like a collection of animation DVDs, which it has, I mean, it has Scream of the Shalka, Power of the Daleks, and Shada on it, so those three are pretty good, especially Shada. I can't count the amount of times I've watched Shada. I, like, just, not even the episode itself, but just the actors and all of the energy between them, especially just the kind of quippy dialogue between the Doctor and Romana and Shada is like some real top tier stuff. And that's a comfort episode for me. I do have the Macra Terror. That one was pretty good. Again, if I hold stuff up for a long time, it's because I like can't see. Okay, there we go. I have to like wait like 2 seconds to see if I got it in frame or not. I have Robot. I don't think I've watched this one yet. I saw it in public, and again, because it's so unique to see Doctor Who stuff in public, I was like, I might as well get it. Oh, good night, John! I hope you have a wonderful night. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being great. And sleep well. And then I also have The Beginning, which these episodes are all great. I definitely love this purchase. I love the Daleks. People say the Daleks is long, it's boring. I really liked it. Oh, good night, Shrek Swag. I have to work at a shoe shop tomorrow. You should try all of them on. You should try all the shoes on. I'm just kidding. Don't get fired. But do have a good shift, do have a good sleep, and do have a great night. Thank you for joining and for talking with me. Okay, what else? What else can I talk about? Ben Miller said, how sad were you when Jodie Whittaker announced her departure from Doctor Who? I thought it was fake at first. I was at work when it happened, and I got the notification, and you know, people are always like making like parody Doctor Who official accounts just to make jokes. So I thought, I'm like, oh, this is like a joke. Like, this isn't real. And then I clicked on it, and I was like, oh. Ooh. I was sad. I was sad because, again, it's always sad when a doctor is leaving, but I feel like I got really close to Jodie's doctor as well during the lockdown, because, just kind of, I mean, I brought this up a few times, I think. I actually took a small break from Doctor Who when Capaldi left, not because of anything to do with Whittaker, just because I was so sad, and at the time I became, like, really invested in Marvel, which was a phase. And so when Series 12 came out, I kind of got brought back into the Doctor Who fandom full time, especially when COVID happened. And so I felt like, again, I just got really special to it because of the fandom and just getting really into it and learning to really appreciate that again and having fun with that. So when she left, I was like, I was sad, and I think I was also sad again because I feel like she didn't really get all that she deserved with her era, and because it doesn't really feel like it's been 5 years. Again, we had lockdown, which kind of cut like 2 years down to 2 months. So it really feels like she just got here and like this just started. And I feel like because I took that break, I'm like, I wish I had been there and I had been appreciating that at that time from the beginning, just so I had a little bit more time to experience this era with everybody. But a quote I love is that you should all over yourself. So, unfortunately, I did take a break. I won't get that time back. All I can do is appreciate it now in the future and have fun with that. Cliptic says, you have COVID? Oh no. I didn't mean to say oh no like the TikToks, but I'm so sorry. I have been fortunate enough not to get COVID yet. Personally, I believe that at this point we've all had it in some way, shape, or form. It's just some of us haven't had symptoms. But I'm really sorry about that. I really hope that the symptoms aren't that severe and that you can rest up, drink a lot of water, and that kind of passes through as easily as it can, because that's rough. I'm really sorry to hear that. Nathan says, yo, hi, how are you? Yeah, this is just kind of a random stream. I'm just kind of hanging out, showing off DVDs and stuff. If you guys have any, like, topics you want me to cover, or parts of my Doctor Who collection you want me to show off, I don't know, I'm just hanging out. I do have cats, but I think they're mad because I kind of used them for, for views earlier when I was, on that dude's stream. When I was on that guy's stream earlier, I was, like, doing the cats and, like, pulling them up and wrangling them and, like, showing them off and saying their names, and I think they're mad at me. I think they're like, why must you make us suffer? But, oh well. That's the payback they get, because a couple of days ago, one of them managed to open the freezer in the middle of the night and spoil about $100 worth of food. So they can earn it back by being content fodder. So I say that as a joke, by the way. I don't mistreat my cats as content fodder. They can't handle the fame. Kevin definitely can. He's a fame beast. He's the black, he's not the black cat, that's Nico. See, I can't even remember my old children. Kevin is the white and brown cat, the one I showed on the stream the most, and he loves attention. Nico also loves attention. She's the black kitty. She is so loving, and she's always cuddling me, and I love my cat so much. Can you tell? Okay, what is in my immediate vicinity that I can show off? Not much, because all my book stuff is, like, that way. Again, I had to, like, wait and see, is my arrow in the right spot? One of these days, this is my first time ever going live on YouTube, I need to get, like, a cool streaming setup, because usually what I do is when I film videos, I have my phone either on my corkboard haphazardly, like it is right now, or it's on this, like, shaky, like, $5 tripod I got. The camera quality I feel like is nice that's why I bought this phone, is for the camera quality. How is my audio? I have a microphone, but I usually never use it, so how is my audio? Is it really choppy, or, like, is there a lot of noise? Again, I can't tell because I can't hear myself. But yeah, I don't have a microphone right now. I have my phone's microphone, and that's it. Okay. Reptor says, any Bernie Summerfield books / audios you recommend? I'm collecting EDA stuff right now, but I think I want to collect some Benny stuff next. Benny is great. I actually have quite a lot of Benny stuff. I got this, like, huge book collection off of eBay, but I haven't had a ton of time to get into it. I am trying to read more books. That sounds like such, like, a Gen Z addicted to phone thing to say, is like, I checked out this thing called a book the other day. But I am trying to read more media, and so I am, hi Nico. So I am trying to get into more of the physical media that I have, so I suppose I'd have to let you know on that. But I love Brittany Summerfield, mainly just because Lisa Bowerman has such a comforting voice to me, and I think she brings such a life to the role that it's hard not to love any Brittany Summerfield. And because I listen to the audios first, whenever I read her books, I can almost hear Lisa Bowerman like narrating them to me. So it's a great time. Big Finish in general, I always recommend. I am a huge fan of their Gallifrey series. The Gallifrey basically takes place while on Gallifrey, and it's a little bit more politically driven. There's a lot of political themes to it. There is some action later on, but it is mainly a political kind of character piece. There's a lot of brilliant character work in that series and so many great performances. It features Leela, of course, played by Louise Jameson, Romana, played by Lalla Ward, a lot of other characters like the Doctor's brother, Irving Braxatel, played by Miles Richardson. And then there's the amazing Narvin, who is played by Sean Carlson, who kind of starts out as this, like, rude kind of rogue and then ends up being this really, really nice, interesting character later on. It is a great series. Again, a bit more politically driven, but there is action later on in the Gallifrey Time War series, and they are actually coming out with a new series called Gallifrey War Room this August, which I believe I saw today on Twitter. They are kind of aiming it to be a jumping on point if you are interested in checking out the Gallifrey series. I believe that series will feature Leela, Narvin, and a lot of new characters, again, because it's a jumping on point. But I wouldn't be surprised if they brought back the other characters later on. And then, of course, you can always go back and check out the rest of the series. But I always feel like a bit of a spokesperson when I talk about Gallifrey because it's such a great series. The performances, the writing are all some top tier stuff. So here, really quick, I'm gonna plug in my computer so that it doesn't die in the middle of me streaming. I have returned. Let me see if I can pull my charger up from the... okay. What else can I show off? I think probably my favorite thing in my Doctor Who collection. I got this at Gallifrey 1. It's the script for Eve of the Daleks. And I attended like a script reading with Mandip Gill. So this is signed by her. And I was like front row and I got to watch her act out the scene where Yaz tells Dan that she has feelings for the Doctor. And that was like, as a gay person who is very into Doctor Who, watching Mandip Gill, like the actress who plays the main companion at the time, reenact a gay scene that is legit from the show, like, my brain was broke. I was sitting there in the audience just like, wow. Like, it was amazing. I figured she was going to do it, but I believe it was the last scene that they reenacted. And so we were kind of getting down to the end of the slotted time there. And I was like, I don't know, maybe not. And then she was like, turn to page like 45 or something. And I had looked ahead because I'm gay and I wanted to see it happen. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, it's happening. Oh no. The power of the gay was too strong. Which way am I facing? I'm facing this way. Whoops. Speaking of Thasmin, Nathan says, how would you like to see the Thasmin arc be resolved in the Centenary? I don't know. See, the thing is, I do like Thasmin. I support it as a queer person. But story-wise, I mean, admittedly, it doesn't have a ton going for it, so it's hard for me to picture how their arc might end, especially because it almost feels like League of the Sea Devils. Legend of the Sea Devils. It feels like Legend of the Sea Devils kind of did resolve it, like, very quickly. They were kind of just like, can't be together. It sucks, which... to me, it kind of feels like there's really no other way to put it. It just happens so quick that it's like, is this a resolution? Or what's happening here? Like, I don't know. So I think I have absolutely no idea where I'd like Thasmin to go after this centenary. Also, I just read your comment that the audio is pretty good. That is good to hear, because sometimes I'll edit my videos and I'll just hear the audio and I'm like, what in the hell are you about to post on the internet? Reptor says, War Room looks pretty promising. I just hope it's super experimental, because most Time War stuff has been a little samey to me, at least the stuff I've heard. I'm also hoping that a little bit. I haven't listened to a lot of Big Finish's Time War stuff. I've only listened to the Gallifrey Time War stuff. It wasn't my favorite part of the series, but I did think it was pretty good. I think I am pretty intrigued to see where they take it, because I have thought about where Gallifrey might go before, and I just didn't think they would do more like Time War centered stuff, so I'm definitely eager to see what they do with it. I am excited for it because it does look like it's going to be a little bit more politics, character relationship based, which is where Gallifrey really thrives. I think that's why, like, the Time War ones for Gallifrey, I didn't vibe with it exactly. It's not that I didn't vibe with it entirely, I just vibed with it probably the least. I said the word vibe a lot. Because it kind of, I don't want to say spoilers, but we'll just say, like, the characters split up a lot, and so they aren't together a lot. So it was kind of, I felt like it was lacking a lot of that, like, inner character, main character relationship stuff. So I'm kind of hoping we bring stuff back to that core, and we should find out very soon. It comes out in August. I can't really, like, probe the Big Finish friends I know for when it comes out. I don't want to, like, I'd feel bad if I tried to do that. But if they wanted to tell me. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm assuming it'll be early August. I feel it in my soul that it will be early August, and then I'm gonna watch this stream later, and it's not gonna be. So Jedi says, if you want really experimental Time War stuff, I recommend Doctor Who Unbound, Doctor of War. Is that... Now, I'm not completely familiar with the Unbound universe. Again, I don't check out a ton of Big Finish stuff, simply because it's harder for me to get into the audio format than it is a visual format. Is the Doctor of War Unbound, is that David Warner? I know he does a lot of Unbound content. Cliptic says, bit spegged off. Add Tibbs nuking Gallifrey again. You can do so much with it. Same. I know a lot of people are kind of in the camp that the Time Lord should be kept mysterious and Gallifrey should be kept mostly a secret. Personally, I disagree. I love seeing Time Lord content. I love seeing Gallifrey content, especially when it's shown how corrupt a society like that can be and how much power, like how much that power can do wrong in the hands of, like, I had 5 sentences going there and I lost every single one of them. What I was trying to say is I think it's really interesting to see what people with such an extreme level of power will do with it, and how that will corrupt them and the space that they occupy, or the spaces that they occupy, but space is a better pun. So I love seeing Time War stuff, and I was really disappointed when he nuked it. I think it is really interesting to see the Cybermasters. I thought that was really interesting. Don't think that'll go anywhere, unfortunately. But I thought it was a really crazy concept. The idea of Cybermen being in, like, Cybermen suits and, like, just regenerating, because we know, we've seen from, especially the David Tennant episodes, that kind of trauma of being a human, like, stuck in that sort of environment, and just the tragedy that comes with, like, such an expressive human, like a whole world being reduced to just, like, an emotionless android. Sorry, I think that's really beautiful. But, like, seeing that, but then the idea that they would have to relive that and continue to die and be reborn in that same sort of environment, I thought that was just so messed up. I loved it. And so it's like, no, you know what, that does make me mad, because it won't go anywhere. But I thought it was cool at the time. Nathan says, I was really hoping the Doctor would find Rassilon to get answers of the Timeless Child, considering he's the perfect person to get them from now. But I fear it's too late for that. I feel like it is as well. Considering that RTD's era, second era, RTD2 is starting soon. I don't think it'll go anywhere. I really don't. I would be very interested to see if Russell T Davies did do something with it. And if he did take a route like that, that would be wild. It's a good plot, but I don't like the idea of Cybermen being the most powerful race in the universe. Let's go Daleks. I don't like the Daleks all that much. But I would agree. I don't like the idea of the Cybermen being the most powerful race in the universe because, again, it's like when you strip a being of their soul, their ambitions, like everything they are, I don't think you can do much with that at the end of the day. Like, you can command Cybermen, but at the end of the day, they won't have, like, the same drive and passion that a Dalek would have. Because Daleks don't exactly have a soul, they don't have a lot of emotion when it comes to freedom, but they do have rage. Like, they have that at least. That's what's fueling them, that's what's powering them. So I think that Daleks inherently would kind of be a little bit more powerful than Cybermen, if that makes sense. Okay. Let me think. What else do I have? Because I have a lot of Doctor Who stuff over on my shelf. And then everything I think of, I'm like, do I really want to have to put this back in a few minutes? So, okay, let me I do have this David Tennant in the corner of my room, and he haunts me in my sleep sometimes. I would say one of my favorite things, and I'm gonna advertise Gallifrey 1 here for a second about Gallifrey 1, is that the fans, so many people bring little gifts and goodies to give to people, and it's really inspired me. Just today I was actually thinking, like, what can I bring to Gallifrey 1 to sort of spread that love back to people? One of the things somebody left, and I would like to think they left it for me because it was in, like, my direct line of eyesight while I was talking with someone. It's this literal Kerblam box. And when I found it, it was filled with little goodies, like stickers and I think a necklace. It had a mask in it. Like, it was just filled with gifts. And I think about Gallifrey 1, and I think about how much love people had there for Doctor Who also, but also for each other. Like, I know online we have a lot of discourse, especially with some of the more negative figures, like Not My Doctors. So to be in that environment where everybody just had so much love and was giving so much love to each other was just an experience that I will never forget. Alright, Cliptic says, it's a good plot, but I don't... Oh wait, I already responded to that one, sorry. Nathan said, really hoping we get a break from the Daleks for a few good years. They've really been exhausted now, to be honest. I agree. Like, I think I have to give props to Chibnall because I feel like each of his Dalek episodes kind of had a unique twist to it. But I don't feel like a ton was done with it. But I do give him props for trying to do something different, such as the time loop. I thought that was very interesting. But yeah, the Daleks, they get old very easily, is the problem. I think I've brought this up in a stream with Mr. TARDIS, maybe? Shout out to him, by the way, for tonight's stream, where I was talking about it, and it's kind of like, the idea of the Daleks is that they're indestructible. That's supposed to be their scary standpoint, is that they're like these indestructible, super powerful, super terrifying creatures. So when they're always in a bunch of episodes getting defeated, hi Kevin, and they're getting defeated each episode, that takes away the idea that they are undefeated. You know, like, you can't look at a Dalek and be like, oh, you're undefeatable, but I just beat you in 3 New Year's specials back to back. Like, it becomes a little bit unbelievable by that point. And yeah, I don't know, it's hard to vibe with them, because it's like, not only that, but they appear so much that they appear and it kind of just feels like we're ticking off a box. Like, oh, well, I don't want to say that because now I sound like a Not My Dalek. But, like, they appear and it's kind of just like, okay, we got our big Doctor Who villain showing up for a little cameo. We saw the prop on set, that's cool, but they don't actually have that much of a presence and an impact in the episode anymore. So I think they need a break, and we really just need different iconic villains for a little while. Sorry, that was another tangent. Cybermen remove all emotions, Dalek remove all emotions, and then add more hatred. Exactly. They they remove all hatred, but then, they remove all emotions, but I think just having that hatred in general, at least having one emotion, one point of drive, especially when that's all you have, like, that's gonna cause you to be a lot more inspired and a lot more powerful than if you just remove all emotion and they kind of just become somebody else's little robot toys. Two other things, cool stories, because I'm like, what can I entertain you guys with? Hello from Argentina, hello! Again, like I said, I got to meet Mandip Gill, and she is so nice, you guys. Like, up here. I keep aiming for my webcam, but it's my phone. But she was so nice. I was really nervous because she was like the first, celebrity that I've ever met. And I was just like, this is my first photo experience, like, I don't know what to do. Like, do I say hi? Do I try to talk to her? And she opened. She was like, I love your dress, like, thank you for coming. She was just so kind. And she was like that, Kevin, please don't knock stuff off my shelf. Mommy is on stream. Sorry, he's got my high school diploma in his paw. Kevin! They're becoming rascals because I still have to feed them. That sounds terrible. They have been fed today, trust me, but I always feed them at 10 p.m. and it's getting close to that, so they're getting a little restless. And then I also got to meet Jo Martin. Oh, again, I aimed for the webcam. She was also very, very nice. She's such a classy, funny woman. Like, I was just, in her presence, I was like, this is a cool lady. Like, she was just so nice. I got to meet her very briefly. I got her picture, got her autograph, and again, yeah, she was just incredibly nice, and she was so charismatic. When they were doing the panel with her, Sacha Dhawan, and Mandip Gill, she was just so charismatic. It was amazing. Raptor says, I don't need everything wrapped up in a bow, but there's lots of stuff that could have been done with the Timeless Child, and we didn't and just got the Master again. I agree so much. Again, I do like Jodie's era. It's been fun watching it, but I think, like, you can't deny that there have been so much stuff that just falls flat, or just, there could have been so much more done. Which Doctor was it? I think it was the 10th Doctor, where he's like, I could have done so much more! And it just kind of feels like that. Especially with the Timeless Child, because I thought it was really interesting. A lot of people didn't like it. I thought it was very interesting. I was like, at least it's something new, and I want to see what happens with it, and what this all means, like, what the lasting impact was, and it was nothing, so that was unfortunate. I'm gonna get a drink of water really quick, because my throat is, like, having a rough time, and then I will read your comment, Nathan. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. It was insane to me how they killed off Tecteun right after reintroducing her. Chibbers, that was the perfect point to elevate the plot instead of pit-stopping it. I was also so confused because she showed up. And it was kind of played as, like, this big thing. Like, oh my god, it's Tecteun. What does all this mean? Who is the division? And then it was just kind of like, nothing! And it all disappeared and she died, and it was like, why are we here? What do we get from this? What happened? Cliptic says, the problem with Timeless isn't that there's more lives to the Doctor. The problem is Chibnall destroys Gallifrey for it and then does FA with it. Agreed. I don't mind that there's more lives to the Doctor. I think a lot of people were upset by it because they think it changes the first Doctor onward. And I know a lot of people brought up that it seems like, they kind of took away the idea that the Doctor was just kind of this random dude who became like a hero and everything. I don't think it does. Because if you think about it, even if the Doctor was the timeless child, those memories got erased and that life got reset. So basically the first Doctor onward is like a brand new person. So it doesn't change what we've seen so far. It just adds on to it, if that makes sense. But I do agree that it does seem like we did a lot to set, like I was on the show, like I was on set, like listen, we gotta destroy Gallifrey. But the show did a lot to set up the timeless child and kind of made it and the Flux also seem like, holy crap, stuff is going down. This is like a big moment. And then it was just kind of like, it's not though. So, Cliptic says, Hartnell's still the first Doctor, and have any of those people read Lungbarrow? Not read Lungbarrow because it just seems like a lot, personally. I will stick to seeing out-of-context jokes from it. But yeah, exactly, Hartnell is still the first Doctor. Like, and I feel like a lot of people hear people say that, and they're like, oh, so you're saying Jo Martin isn't the Doctor? That's not what we're saying. But Hartnell is the first Doctor from this, like, life cycle that we've seen, if that makes sense. Jo Martin is still the Doctor in every sense. She's a Doctor. She's part of the Doctor's life. But Hartnell does and forever will kind of mark the first Doctor that we met onward. Like, and plus Doctor Who's canon, when you consider like the Morbius Doctors and everything, is it Mobius Doctors? Did I say Morbius because of the Morbius movie? Somebody answer in the comments. The Morbius Doctors. It's Morbin time. I swear it was Morbius. Someone please confirm. I'm gonna Google it because the Morbius Doctors. Oh, thank God it was Morbius. I was like, no way. Okay, the Morbius Doctors. Hell yeah. Like, the thing is, Doctor Who canon is so whack. It's like, at the end of the day, we can acknowledge that it's whack and still have those, like the 10th Doctor is still the 10th Doctor and always will be, you know? Just because the War Doctor showed up, that doesn't change the numbering of the Doctors. Like, I am so out of it, because the Morbius thing. That really broke my brain for a minute there. Raptor says, never mess with Morb Nation again. I'm hoping not to, because they scare me. Like, Morbius, Stan Twitter. Like, the Morbius crew, I feel like, is on par with K-pop Twitter in terms of how much they frighten me. Just their sheer power, is a complex emotion for me. So. Nathan says, TBH, it feels like a spin on Looming, which is kind of cool, so I don't mind more lives, but it feels pointless because we've only seen one of them who hasn't even shown up much. Agreed. I like the concept of Looming, and I am not afraid to say it. First of all, I like Looming because I think it's just the perfect wacky thing to add for the Time Lords who are so wacky. And I don't know, I really like the idea that these Time Lords are so, like, fancy and corrupt that they would, like, get really into creating people. Now, I know that's not why Looming became a thing, but I kind of like how that theme ties into Gallifrey's corrupt stuff. It's kind of getting a fanfic angle here, unfortunately. But I do agree, I am so mad that Jo Martin only showed up a little bit in Flux, because that felt like her time. Like, the whole thing about the villains, which I can't even remember their name, Swarm, I do remember their name, that's not true. The whole thing was like, we've known the Doctor for forever, we're her old villains, so like, why was she not there? Why was she not there? I am so... Jo Martin, from the second she came on screen, I'm like, she is the Doctor. Like, she's so great at it. And when she showed up in Flux, Oh, I was freaking out. I was having a time because I was like, I really hope she's in this for the rest of the episodes, and then she wasn't. In my dreams, Jo Martin still gets her time as the Doctor, maybe like a fun special or a Big Finish spinoff. But it's so unfortunate because she is such a great Doctor, and then it seems like it kind of just got turned into like a cameo thing. I was going to compare it to the War Doctor, but I feel like even the War Doctor got a bit more because he kind of had an arc and a big narrative story in that episode, whereas Jo Martin's Doctor, it kind of just feels like she was there, like she was a support, but I feel like Jo Martin would do so well with her own story and her own narrative and just her performance. Oh, she would do so great. I don't know what Kevin just knocked over. I hear dripping, and I'm really hoping it's not my Baja Blast that I opened earlier. Kevin, I will be back. Hang on. It was not the Baja Blast. I'm very happy to report. It was something else that I will probably find later. She has a Big Finish spinoff. Wait, am I that out of the loop? What's happening? Why? Hang on. Thing is, I've been so out of the loop lately. Hang on. I'm on Twitter. Twitter.com. I know she has a comic book spinoff. Yes, she does. I do remember that now. Okay. I was like getting it confused with the comic book spinoff, and I was like, wait, no, it's a comic book. But yes. I had forgotten that they got they hooked them in at Gallifrey 1, I believe they said. At the Gallifrey 1 2022 back in February. I think that's where they approached them and were like slipping them under the table, like, I got this Big Finish script. If you want to read it, wink, wink. I think that's where they scooped him. So I'm very excited for that, especially Sacha Dhawan. He is great with line delivery. Love him. Jo Martin and Peter Capaldi together would be a dream come true. You are certainly correct. Holy cow. Like, on one hand, I'm a big fan of Doctor Adventures when they're, like, not that great of a match. Like, when their personalities are just a lot different. But I think that those two, I love them so much that just seeing them on screen, the episode could be total garbage. It could be the worst episode of Doctor Who ever, and I would still eat it up. And I would still watch it every day. So, that is a thing. One thing I thought of, speaking of, oh, Davis DM'd me. Oh, I feel bad. I didn't see his DM until now. He said amazing show in reference to the live stream that I did earlier. It was a show, again, kind of just regret it, but I'm glad that people enjoyed it and that I could provide some entertainment for the people there. I'm gonna message him back and just say thank you. Lots of love! Exclamation point. I love Davis. I love the Broke Cannon videos. I eat those up. One thing I thought I could check out, because I do subscribe to Theories. I check out his leak videos once in a while, but I still feel like I'm so out of the loop because so much is happening every single day. I check Twitter and it's like 10,000 leaks have happened. There's 20 new set photos and I'm just like, what the hell is happening? Maestro Jack says, hello, wow, this is my first time watching you live. This is my first time going live, so I'm happy you're here. I hope you're well. Hope you're having a great day, night, whatever time it is for you. I always like to say that because I never know what time zone people are in. So I don't want to say good morning and you're like in bed at 2 a.m. up on the internet. So let's go to YouTube. Let's go to Theories. See what he's been talking about. We're investigating the Theories channel. Okay, apologies if you hear audio. Let's see. Oh, about Disney. getting streaming rights. I kind of hope they do. As much as, like, I have issues with Disney, of course, because political reasons and they're a monopoly. I kind of do hope that they do get the streaming rights for Doctor Who, because again, when it came off of Netflix, I feel like there was a huge stake in the American market that was lost in terms of Doctor Who. So I feel like getting on Disney Plus, getting that advertisement, and the money, the money behind Disney that they could provide for some American advertisements, I feel like I can't argue against it. So I would hope that they would bring in all of New Who, not just Shutagawa's series. So yeah, I can't argue against it. Could Matt Smith return to Doctor Who? I don't know, you guys. From what we've seen, I really don't know if Peter Capaldi or Matt Smith or other doctors would come back. Purely because I'm pretty sure, first of all, Matt Smith is, like, booked and busy. He's always doing stuff. Peter Capaldi is also booked and busy, and I believe he said that he's not really super interested in coming back, which, again, because he's my favorite doctor, I'm like, no, I want you to go. But I don't want him to come back if the passion isn't there, because you want them to have fun, first of all. At the end of the day, acting's a job, but I feel like a role like that, you should also have the passion for it. You should feel like it's right to come back at that time. Maestro says, I'm still mad at Disney for forcing my favorite show to wrap up their story short. They do that a lot, so I'll have to ask you to be more specific. Because they do that with a lot of shows these days. Nathan says, I imagine Capaldi wouldn't want to after the BBC dragged him for not being universally loved. Yeah, oh, I was so mad about that. Like, just because I love him so much, I'm like, you can't be saying that. Like, I have to go to bat. I have to defend him. I have to be in the trenches defending his legacy and his honor if you're gonna say stuff like that. The Owl House. I have not watched The Owl House yet. I have heard so much great things about it. I just haven't had a chance to check it out yet. But I did hear that got cut short. I think a lot of cartoon shows are getting cut short lately, which is very sad because animation, I think especially in the anime division, is really gaining a lot of traction. So it's really disappointing to see that a lot of the big corporations especially are kind of losing faith in those shows, or not giving them the slots and the recognition that they deserve. Raptor says, I do want Doctor Who to be bigger in America, but Disney seems super scary to just give them streaming rights, because you never know if they'll want more later. I agree. I think that is a genuine thing to think about, but I think the thing is, like, I don't know, because Doctor Who is a very British thing. And Doctor Who, or not Doctor Who, Disney is a monopoly, but I feel like they're kind of scooping up more American-centered stuff first. Who knows? Maybe they will attempt a British takeover later, but I don't know. I certainly wouldn't want them to get more control. If anything, I would want a studio like Bad Wolf to get more control, because they are excellent. But if they did have the streaming rights and that's kind of all they were going after, and providing support for that, and maybe they get, you know, a little money from it, then I couldn't argue with that a whole lot. Let me stroll on the Theories channel. Yeah, there's a lot of leaks that happen. I really liked when we got a lot of set photos, because it really reminded me of back in the day in Capaldi's era, where that stuff was more spread and we could kind of theorize. Again, I don't theorize too much, but it is fun just to see people enjoy that and kind of guess, like, what is happening here? Who is that? Like, it's fun. I get a lot of enjoyment seeing people be happy and have fun, so it's always a great time when people on Doctor Who Twitter kind of get really hyped about something. Nathan says, as long as we don't get another one of those Disney XD ads for it, I'm good. I saw it without audio. I can't listen to it with audio now because I'm on stream. but I will have to check it out later because just the graphics of it looked so chaotic. But also, I kind of loved it a little bit because Disney XD was like my thing as a kid. On the off chance that I had live TV at the time, Disney XD was like the channel because it had all like the cool tomboy like shows. So I feel like if I had seen Doctor Who on Disney XD, I would have gotten into it a lot earlier than I did. So I like the idea that it was on there, even if it was really chaotic. But was it only on Disney XD in Britain? I don't know how you guys handle Disney channels because it's a different country. Defo on par with Doctor in Distress. I did listen to Doctor in Distress for the first time. Oh god, it's been a year. I don't like to think about the passage of time. It's been about a year since I listened to Doctor in Distress for the first time. I thought it was like kind of a bop at first, like, and then they got into like kind of the more spoken word stuff, and I was like, oh, like you didn't have to do all that. Like that's a bit much. And then the actors started appearing, and I was just like, why are you here? Like what do they have on you to bring you here? Okay, I'm gonna send you a trailer for the Owl House on Instagram for you to check off stream. Sure. That's great. Yeah, I can't really check anything right now because I'm filming on my phone. So I can't do anything. I have Twitter on my computer. I have Safari. But I can't access almost... What? Hans Zimmer did the keyboard for Doctor in Distress? What are you talking about? Hang on. I know it has a Wikipedia page. Because I almost released a video of me listening to it for the first time, and then I lost it. That happens a lot. I will film a lot of videos and then just straight up lose them. Songwriters. Hi, Hi, Kevin. This is a lot of text. This did not occur. The music was played by Hans Zimmer on a synthesizer. Zimmer was later... I love how this was before. Of course it was before. I don't know why I thought it was, like, after he became super famous. Like, one of the most famous film composers of all time. He was like, I'm gonna do Doctor in Distress. I totally thought it was, like, after that he just, like, decided to do it because he was just that much of a Doctor Who fan that he was like, let me take a break from my... I'm assuming he's won Oscars. Oscar-winning career to work on Dr. Kevin, please get out of my trash. To work on Doctor in Distress. The Wikipedia page for Doctor in Distress is so chaotic, though. So first of all, Ian Levine wrote it, so that's just funny as hell. Apparently it was rumored that Elton John would be a part of it. However, this did not occur. It says, organizers secured the involvement of 25, and I quote, mid-level performers. Like, why did you have to add that? Why did you have to add that they were mid-level? Like, what, like, probably, but you didn't have to say that. The resulting supergroup recorded and released the single under the name Who Cares, which I also think is just hilarious that they had that as the name. But I do think it's cool that the proceeds went to cancer research. Shout out to that. But it immediately goes, it says the single, which was released on Friday, 15th March 1985, was universally panned. Even the BBC itself refused to broadcast the song on its radio stations on the grounds of its poor quality. Levine himself later told The Guardian, quote, it was an absolute balls-up fiasco. It was pathetic and bad and stupid. It tried to tell the Doctor Who history in an awful, high-energy song. It almost ruined me. Oh boy, I wish it had. And then it says, the single failed to chart in the UK. Like, this whole Wikipedia page just trashes this song worse than I think any of us have in the chat tonight. And it's so hilarious to read because it feels like the person who wrote this Wikipedia entry had a lot of hatred for this song, which again, fair, but just wow. Just wow. I was a group of fans were going to put together a cover of Doctor in Distress, and I was gonna try and be a part of it, but then I got too anxious, and I was like, I don't know, because I can't sing. It's like the one thing I'll always admit, I cannot sing. And I don't mean in a Disney Channel, like, guys, I can't sing, and then I belt like Adele. I mean, I genuinely can't sing. So, I was going to be a part of it, and then I was kind of like, I don't know. Like, I'm assuming it's already been released. If there's any chance to still do it, maybe, but it's a very unlikely maybe, because I just cannot sing, you guys. I just cannot sing. Someone said listening to it is like being truly indoctrinated into the fandom with no escape. It really is one of those things where it's like, how do you show this to a person and expect them... Either they're gonna take you seriously and they're gonna become your brand new best friend because they're totally a person that you can chill with, or they're just gonna look at you like, what the hell is wrong with you? Which cat is at my foot right now? Hi, Kevin. Are you okay? I think he's genuinely, like, mad at me. I think he's like, why are you paying attention to people on the internet and not me? But I can do both if he just let me pet him. It's okay, though. If they don't want to be on camera, I'm not going to force them to be on camera. Like, it was a fun little bit in the stream earlier with that dude, but I'm not going to force him to be on camera. Let me see what is going on Twitter.com. I feel like all the British people went to sleep. Because usually when I'm trying to look up Doctor Who stuff on the internet, I rely on the British people. And so when they go to sleep, it's like, who is here? What do I look at? Lots of talk about that Nope movie. I want to see that, but I have such a hard time with horror movies because I have a lot of anxiety. So when I watch horror movies, I'm legit, I'm the type of person to Google the Wikipedia article and read the plot. So that I know what happens before I watch the movie, because I'm that kind of anxious. I'm like, I need to know what's gonna happen before I see this horror movie. Still morning here. Yeah, you're Australian. You're lucky. I believe you are opposite of me. It's about 10 p.m. right now, so it's about 11 a.m. for you? Maybe. I have time zones pulled up on my phone. But I can't look because I'm filming on my phone. That's the only downside, is like, I always film on my phone. So whenever I record a video, I always have to have like a notepad with all my notes on it right next to me. Or I have to like have my computer open next to me so that I can like see all the stuff I've written down. Because if you couldn't tell, I ramble a lot. So when I film a video, there's usually like 30-20 minutes of content that has to be cut out, and that's with the notebook. So imagine if I didn't have a notebook to keep myself on track and like think of what I want to say for the video. It'd be a mess. And you know what? I cut like 30 minutes of content and I still end the video and I'm like, I should have brought up this, or I should have said that. So who knows, maybe I'll do more of these live streams in the future because it's a format where I can just ramble. But I do, you've probably also noticed, because I talk so fast, I do kind of stumble over my words a lot. Or I'll just say something, and I'll be like, that's straight up just not what I wanted to say. I don't know why I said that. So that is the benefit of doing videos as opposed to live stream, is if I do say something that didn't make sense, or I'm like, wait, actually, I just thought about it, and I don't feel that way, I can just cut it. Whereas here, it's like, you guys are just watching me, like, make these decisions in real time. Sir Jedi says, I know that feeling. I get so squeamish and queasy easily, so horror is always a hard sell. Same. For me, there was a time where I wasn't too bad with like gore. Um, but nowadays I get so bad with it. Like I just see gore and I'm like, no. But for me, sorry if I have a cat toy, where there's like a ball and a track and they just chase it around and one of the cats is going crazy with it, so I apologize if you can hear that. But yeah, with horror for me, it's about the anticipation. It's about sitting there, and especially if you're in the theater and you have no idea what's about to happen, it's like I just can't do it. Like that build up in your chest. And that's what attracts a lot of people to the genre, but I genuinely I like can't do it because I'm just sitting there. I start getting antsy, start getting like itchy, like I'm just like I can't sit here and not know what I'm getting myself into, especially because it's horror, which often has very triggering themes and very triggering scenes. Um Thank you. I do want to do more live streams. I've kind of thought about it in the past, but again, it's always had that bit of a daunting feeling because I stumble over my words a lot or kind of fumble and ramble a lot. So I've always just been like, oh, maybe I shouldn't. And it's also just a matter of finding what to talk about. I mean, when I do videos, it's like, okay, I'm sitting down for about an hour, hour and a half, and I'm going to talk about this very specific thing, such as an episode. Whereas with a live stream, it's kind of more, again, like I'm responding to comments, and that really helps, because when you guys comment, it's like I know what you want to talk about and what I should respond to. But sometimes it's hard, because it's just like, how do I entertain you all of a sudden? But it has been so much fun. Because I think, again, the benefit of a live stream is, like, you're talking to people most of the time. And, Nathan, you said it's a lot more real that way and chill. And I agree, because there are some times where I film a video, and because I stumble a lot, I have to do a lot of takes for a lot of stuff. And that's also why there's a lot of weird cuts in my videos, because sometimes I do this thing where I'll, like, fumble, and I'll restart the line in the middle of a sentence. And so I have to sort of like Frankenstein these two sentences together. Because in my brain, I'm like, oh no, I did that half of the sentence good. It's only this half I have to restart. And it's not. But sometimes I kind of feel like I miss like take of a line. And because I'm not like, I don't want to say like I'm not fake or whatever, but it feels weird to me to kind of try and recapture the energy. So I feel like a lot of my first takes of lines are a lot better emotion wise, because there's a lot more passion and it's like genuine, like that's the first take. And then I try to redo the line and it's like, I don't want to do some fake thing where I just like pretend like I didn't mess up. Here's the same passion from the first time, because it's like, no, now I'm just more like chilling. So I feel like I lose a lot of that passion when I'm doing an edited video, because I have to go back so many times, and just because it's like I can't let myself pretend and be like, oh, just because you can't see me, here's me. Because I feel like as a person I have a lot of passion, and it's harder for me to like fake that. And especially because then I have to edit the video. So it's like, if I do fake that passion and that energy, then it's like, I see that. And it's like, you guys might not know, but I know. So I can't do it. It's like, so that's why sometimes I watch my videos and I'm like, oh, I wish I had done this differently. Because I'm like, I wish I had been able to maintain that energy throughout and do like a good take. Again, that was a ramble. Maestro Jack says, I am a live presenter, and I am the kind of person who needs to re-record stuff all the time on camera. So doing things live, I'm so much more anxious. For me, I feel like I'm anxious about it because the ball just keeps rolling. When I'm filming a video, it's kind of like, again, I'm talking about one specific thing. I don't ever have a script, but I just kind of, again, have a notepad where I'm like, here is the stuff you should try to cover. And so I do have a little bit of a guide, and I'm able to kind of reference that back, or if I say something that I feel like it didn't come out right, or I changed my mind, because I do change my mind a lot of the time, like on the spot, then I can kind of just sit there and think like, okay, here's what went wrong when I said that. Here's the better way to say it, and then I say it, and that's what makes it into the video. Whereas this live video now, I'm like, I can't even remember what I told you 10 minutes ago. I'm like, I could have said something where one day I'll watch this back and I'll be like, why the hell did you say that? Like, that's not what you think now, or like, that doesn't make any sense. But maybe it's a little bit fun that way. Again, I look on the positive of things. It's a little bit fun that way because I can just kind of keep that ball rolling, and maybe the more that I do live streams, I'll learn how to manage it a little bit better and keep that ball rolling in a way that's a little bit more comfortable for me. Again, this is my first live stream I've ever done, so it's new. Of course, I'm gonna feel like, what am I doing? But maybe in the future, if I do more, then it'll kind of feel like I'm able to get my thoughts together a little bit better. Yeah, you said when it's live, if you mess up, you can't redo it, just keep going. That's the vibe. I mean, I go to therapy, and one of my favorite things my therapist has ever told me, and I think I said this earlier, is the quote, you shouldn't should all over yourself. So you shouldn't keep saying the word should. You shouldn't keep saying to yourself, oh, I should have done that. I should have been like that. I should have done this. Because at the end of the day, it's in the past. There's no change in that. And as cheesy as it is to say, you can kind of only keep looking forward. Because every time you use the word should, that's just another time that you're telling yourself that you should have been able to fix something that you can't. So you're just wasting time. And not only that, but you're hurting your own feelings. So you just kind of have to keep going. And if you said something wrong, or if you said something that doesn't make sense, and someone's like, what the hell were you talking about? You say, well, here, dude, here's what I was talking about. Here's what I should have said. Yeah, that's one of my favorite quotes, and I always keep that in mind, because again, almost every time I release a video, I watch it back later and I'm like, here's 10 things I should have included in this video. But it's like, you didn't. It's out there. Oh well. You always get a chance later. But yeah, I do have a lot of fun with live stream. I think it's fun because it's so spontaneous also. Like, again, when you're doing a video, you already know what you're gonna do, whereas in a live stream, it's like, what is going to happen? What am I going to pull out? Like, what am I going to do to make this interesting? Like, it's a bit of a challenge, and it's a fun one. I think that's why I was a little nervous when I joined that dude's live stream earlier. Not only because of the subject matter, obviously, whenever there's political motivations and kind of edgelords like that, it's a little bit harder, because you can kind of fall into a trap easily that they want you to fall into. So I was a little bit nervous about that. I think the only reason I ended up joining was because I knew I had friends there. But it was a little bit, like, nerve-wracking, especially because it wasn't my live stream. It's like, at the end of the day, this is this dude's live stream. He could boot me off at any time. He could start saying some stuff that I don't know how to respond to right off the bat. So that was nerve-wracking. But I think it helped to have friends there, and that's why I think this live stream has gone so well so far, is because it's like, I have you guys here to talk to. So it's not just like I'm ranting into oblivion. It's like I have comments here to respond to, questions to answer, and so that helps a lot. So thank you. Because yeah, I starting this, I kind of just started it because I was like, it's kind of fun to go live earlier, why not try it now? And now I'm kind of like, I should do this later if I want to, if I come up with stuff. I think one idea I had a very long time ago, I say a very long time ago, it was probably a couple months ago, I just don't remember the passage of time these days, is somebody brought up Bernie Summerfield books earlier, and I wanted to do kind of like a reading thing, where maybe like once a week I read a chapter. But then I was like, legally, again, that's gray waters, because it is copyrighted content. I don't know who the hell has the copyright. But I thought it would be fun, again, similar to my classic and chronological reaction series. It kind of fell through because of the legal gray area. I was just like, I don't know if I want to get into that. It was also a matter of scheduling, but I mean, it is something to consider in the future. I think when it comes to live streams, it'll be a bit harder for me to come up with stuff because I am pretty busy. In the fall and winter months, I'm a full-time college student, and I also work full-time. So that's why I admire Theories a lot and other YouTubers who cover the leaks as they happen, because it's like so quick. It's like it happens on Twitter, and like 3 of them have already made a video, and I'm like at work, and I'm like, how in the hell are you people doing this? So I'm really glad that they are covering that, because I don't think I ever could. It's just unrealistic. But I wouldn't mind doing a live stream every once in a while after a few of them come out and just kind of covering them as they happen. Or maybe just kind of asking people on Twitter if you want to follow me there. I'm pretty sure all of you do. It's at Protagonist Ivy. Maybe just picking a couple of different topics, and you guys can choose, and maybe we'll like wait a day and see if that's something that can happen. Because there's so much to talk about when it comes to Doctor Who. Doctor Who is an infinity, and that's why I love it. Maestro Jack says, it's been enjoyable. I know you and I've talked a bit here and there on Instagram, and just getting to actually talk to you on your stream is awesome. Thank you. I do love talking to you on Instagram. I don't use Instagram that much because, frankly, the app has just, in my opinion, gone downhill a lot in terms of, like, Kevin. Sorry, what are you doing? It's gone downhill a lot in terms of organization, and just because I'm on Twitter so much, and the people I know on Twitter are kind of the same people I know on Instagram. So it's like, if I see you on Twitter, I'm less likely to check Instagram to see what's up, so I apologize if I'm not that active there. Cliptic says, just read the books and say a random word after every sentence. Technically, it's not the same content. I could remix it. Or maybe I'll do a funny accent so they can't pick up on it. Who knows? Or maybe I'll just have to find whoever, if they ever show up at Gallifrey 1, I'll have to, like, bribe them. I'll slip, like, a 20 across the table and be like, I have the Bernie Summerfield books. I would like to read them on stream. Can you please let me? Maestro says, oh yeah, I love when leaks happen. I don't like the plot spoilers, but I love it when I see set photos and stuff. For me, I don't mind spoilers a whole lot, just because, again, it's like I'm on Twitter, and it kind of feels like if you're chronically on Twitter, you're gonna see spoilers for almost anything. So I've kind of just learned to not put so much weight onto big reveals or spoilers or anything like that, and kind of shift that meaning into the build-up or the in-between of, like, what I know and what I've just learned is going to happen, and it still kind of keeps it in that range where you can really appreciate what happens. Like, it's gotten to the point where I see a spoiler, and I'm like, damn, that's crazy, but how does it get there? And that's what I get more invested in, is, like, I know it gets there, but what is the progress of that? I just get really invested in that, and that kind of protects me from losing a lot of the excitement and passion from spoilers. And honestly, again, it's like kind of an anxiety thing. Like, I get, again, because like Doctor Who and some media is so important to me, it's like I want to know that it's gonna do well. I want to know that it's gonna be exciting and have this stuff happening, like cool stuff. And so I kind of feel like almost a responsibility to check in on it. Like, oh, I have to see what spoilers are happening or what might be keeping up, just so it's like, I feel like a parent. I'm like, what is my child doing? What is Ducky Who doing? What is going on over there? And then it's like, Theories and Twitter are like my baby cam for checking in on Doctor Who. That was a very fun analogy that I just did there. Nathan says, it's crazy because most spoilers we've had recently probably isn't even half of what we'll see in the coming years of Doctor Who. I have no doubt that that's true. I mean, obviously, because there's so much green screen and studio work that's done these days, I was surprised to get so many, sorry, I just had a hiccup, so many set photos in general. Just being able to see all that we've seen already feels like so much that I'm like, we could never see anything again until his era comes out, and I'll feel like we already have enough to tide us over for that entire waiting period. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun seeing set photos. It's been very odd seeing David Tennant set photos, because I got into Doctor Who beyond his time, even technically his appearance Day of the Doctor. So I've never seen David Tennant set photos like as they come out. So it just feels weird. Like, it almost feels like I've genuinely gone back in time to his era, and now I'm seeing those set photos and experiencing that culture and that experience that I never got to experience. It's very odd, but exciting all the same. And I don't know, I'm nervous to see what he's doing there. What's going on with that? Especially if it's the 60th anniversary, because I do hope it's a multi-doctor story. I don't know how they'll do it, but I hope it is, because it's like, it's the 60th anniversary. You can't have only one doctor. Like, come on. Seeing David on set is amazing. I definitely think Jodie regenerates into him. Think about it, we haven't seen any news of Ncuti filming yet. I think he will, but I'm like a little confused on that. I think the execution of that would have to be like really good for me to get into it, because the idea just feels weird to me. More from like a fandom standpoint, because there's kind of been this whole attitude throughout Jodie's era, sorry. This whole attitude of like him kind of overshadowing her, or people constantly saying like, oh, the show will never be as good as it was with Tennant. I see people are picking up on it. I'm sorry. There's sometimes where my brain just, you know, the autofill we have on our phones, right? It's like my brain genuinely just kind of takes over and thinks it knows what I'm gonna say. And then I'm like, no. Like, how did you get, like, you know when people say the F word and it autocorrects to duck? It's like it's trying to do that, but all the time. And I'm just like, I don't know how we got from Duck to Erica, but we did. So I kind of have to rein it in there. Again, that's why I edit a lot. Where were we? Oh gosh, we were talking about David Tennant. Oh yes, I remember. So we were talking about how a lot of Jodie's era, there's kind of been this attitude where people kind of overshadow, and with Capaldi too, this was kind of an issue. People kind of shadow it and are like, they'll never be like David Tennant. The show will never be like it was with David Tennant. But the show kept moving despite that, and I really liked that. And so I kind of feel a little bit uneasy about the idea of, like, visually, the representation of this era morphing back into that era. Hi, Kevin. Kevin agrees. That's why he appeared. Come here, baby boy. He is the best cat to pet. I can't say that too loud, because I genuinely don't have favorites with my cats. But there's just, Nico just came running into the room. She heard me. But he's just, there's so much of him to love, and he's so cuddly that it's just, it's great. I'm sorry I'm not giving you a ton of attention. Okay, he doesn't have a name tag. I was like, I have to cover up a name tag just in case. Are you just gonna sit here? Are you gonna join the stream? You got anything you want to say? No? Okay. He's usually very photogenic and loves attention, so I'm surprised he didn't just eat that space up there. But he's just sort of staring at me. I'm glad that you guys can see the David Tennant behind me, because I forget he's there most of the time. I've had that cardboard cutout for years now, and he's been in that spot for about 1.5 years, 2 years. And I just do not remember that I put him there. And especially what happens is that I'll have my lights off in my room, so I'll go to walk into my room, and I'll just see this shadow. Just this shadow of David Tennant. And it scares the living daylights out of me every time. Like, I will literally jump 6 feet in the air, and I'm like, oh, it's my cardboard cutout David Tennant, like it's like a normal house decor. And then, like, sometimes I'll film videos, and I'll kind of, like, look in the corner, I'll be like, who the hell is that? It's David Tennant. So, yeah, I'm always like, I'm gonna move it, because it scares me, and I see it, and it confuses me. But I'm like, it's so funny at the same time. It was a little awkward the other day though, because I had a friend over, and a new friend, and I was just like, so that's my cardboard cutout of David Tennant. Like, that was something that I didn't realize I would have to explain to people until I had to, and then I was like, maybe he will have to hide somewhere else. So that was fun. Okay, let's see what is going on Twitter. Do some X-Men stuff. I really hope the X-Men show up in the MCU, but at the same time, I don't think anything will beat, like, just the 2000s movies. I love those movies so much. No, again, they're not great. Like, maybe there's some issues with them. I'm not too much of a critic. I don't really pay attention to a whole lot of critic stuff. For me, I'm watching entertainment. I'm not gonna pick it apart all the time. So I do enjoy the 2000s X-Men movies a lot, not just for nostalgia, but just for the heart behind them. So I don't know if I would want the X-Men in the MCU, because I feel like I would always compare it. I would always be like, oh, it's not like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, or oh, this isn't like X2. I feel like I would be such a B-word about it. I don't know why I'm so nervous about swearing, because I just swore on that guy's stream a lot, but I don't know, I always feel like a bit more professional when I'm doing YouTube stuff. I'm like, I can't say the CRAP word. Like, I can't say that. I'm on YouTube. Like, that's the only thing. Like, I don't like changing a lot when I do YouTube. Again, it's an authenticity thing. It's like I can't watch myself be something I'm not. But that's like the one thing, is I will swear like a sailor in my real life, but when I'm on YouTube, I can't. It's like I physically can't. My body stops myself. I have to blurt it out if it's not on live stream. So maybe that's another benefit about doing a live stream, is you can hear me swear. It's like the I was about to make an inappropriate joke that I won't make. Nathan's the best route they can go is doing different variations, like the female Wolverine from Logan in the MCU. I think that would be great. I do want to see, I think her name is Daphne Keane. She did a great job as Laura Kinney in Logan, so I think it would be great to see her. I think it would also be great to do some kind of lesser known X-Men, but at the same time, you know, I don't think they would, because it is like a big name movie franchise, and especially one that's kind of hinging on big names, cameo moments. So I think they would focus on the main X-Men, but there are so many mutants in the comics that have great stories and great potential, so it would be cool to see them in the MCU. And apparently Kamala Khan is a mutant now, so apparently she counts. For me though, Marvel, I have had the hardest time keeping up with Marvel lately. There's too much going on. And that was the same thing with the comics, as I got really into the comics, and I do check them out from time to time. But I would always have my little corner, because there was just too much going on that it's like, it's almost like physically you can't consume all this media. You can't know all of what's going on. So when there is like a Disney Plus show going on every week, and it feels like there's a movie coming out every month, that's an exaggeration, but I think guys can kind of get where I'm coming from. It's just too much. And I wouldn't mind it as much if it didn't feel like you had to consume all of it. Because that's the thing about Marvel Comics, is that you don't have to touch a majority of the comics if you don't want to. You can find a corner and just sort of find a little reading nook and have fun with it. Whereas it seems like these shows and these movies are really leaning into each other, and it kind of feels like you have to watch them in order to get the next movie. Like, for example, I feel like Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness is an example. You kind of had to have watched the WandaVision show to watch that movie. The Marvels, you kind of will have to have watched the Miss Marvel show. So it kind of just feels like an obligation. And when it's an obligation, it's harder for me to feel passionate about and harder for me to get into. So I just can't get into all of it. I don't think I've finished Loki. I watched the first episode of Miss Marvel, but all the power changes, again, it's the comic person in me. I'm like, it's not Kamala Khan. But I do want to finish that show just because I do love Kamala enough to sit through anything like that for her. Nathan says, honestly, I don't mind Kamala being a mutant if they want to go down the route of just simplifying Inhumans and mutants into one group, seeing as the MC universe is already so complicated. I don't know, because again, from a comic standpoint, both groups, the Inhumans and the mutants, have such like a strong, rich history for themselves, and it's so different. Like, mutants, you're kind of just born with that gene. I almost said gene, like how Jean-Luc is Jean-Luc and not Jean-Luc. But you kind of just have that gene. Whereas the Inhumans, it's like a lot of, I believe it's the Kree or the Skrulls, I think it's the Skrulls, that are involved in their history. So it just feels like it would be simplifying it a little bit too much for me. And it also just feels like if you're gonna go all out with these stories where you have so many shows and so many movies and so many threads and multiverses going at once, like, you can afford to make her an Inhuman. You know what I mean? Like, it just felt like such a weird choice. I know a lot of people have brought up the idea that she could think she's a mutant now and then discover that she is an Inhuman later on, like she did in the comics. But, like, in the comics, it was kind of just, like, a very quick thing. It wasn't, like, a big deal, big plot twist that she was actually an Inhuman. So it just felt like a weird decision. I don't know. I just can't vibe with it. I don't know. Sorry that we switched to Marvel. I'm just on Twitter, so I'm kind of reading what's up, seeing what's up. Comic stuff. I don't think you guys... We got any comic readers in here? It's okay if not, because we have plenty to talk about. Yeah, X-Men stuff. Oh yeah, there's people. Okay, it was Sanctuary of Geeks. That's whose live stream I was on. That guy bugged me. I think what bugged me most about that live stream was just the sentiment that, like, you can just be whoever you want on the internet and just say whatever you want. That really bugged me, and sorry that we took a derail here, but just because I talked about how earlier, for me, it's like, it's almost like I physically can't bring myself to, like, be different than I am. So it was just like, how do I even respond to the idea that this person just kind of does whatever the hell they want and says whatever the hell they want because it's just entertainment, it's just content for them. And it's like, especially when it's dealing with subjects like that, some of you might not have been there. So I realized I should explain. I was earlier today, I was on a live stream really quick with this guy who was interviewing a guy who had said some homophobic things. So people were kind of debating him. And I was mainly on there just kind of showing off my cats and stuff. But he had brought up in the stream that for him, live streams like that are just content. Like, it's just something you do for fun. And it's just, like, wild to me that that would be fun for someone. When it's like, I don't know, I just could not wrap my head around it. It's like, why would you be so different? Like, I think I asked him, I was like, what do you get from this? And again, it's late, so my thoughts aren't super cohesive. But I'm just like, I'm still thinking about it. I'm like, what do you get out of this? Because that's my thing with YouTube, is, like, what do I get out of it? You have to ask yourself, like, what do you get out of anything? So that you know, like, why you're doing it. For me, it's a bit about entertaining people, but it's mainly about discussion, and it's about sharing my thoughts in a positive way. And so it's just kind of realizing that some people have that complete opposite view. It's like, whoa. like, I can understand that that's what they like to do, but it's just harder for me to kind of put myself in those shoes. And especially because it's about discussing topics like politics, homophobia, classism, public and private resources. To me, that's like the last thing you want to joke about. That's like the last thing you want to make like shallow content about. Like, you can, in my opinion, you can do whatever you want with media. Again, as long as you're not being racist, homophobic, xenophobic about it. If you're just like making a video like, oh, this movie sucked, here's me nitpicking this movie, it's like, that's fair game. But when it comes to people's like actual lives and people's safety and their standing in the world, I definitely don't think that that's anything to joke about. And I think that's why I kind of regret appearing on the stream, is because, again, I joined it because my friends were there and it was mostly just trolling. But at the same time, I'm like, did I really need to give my time to this sort of stream and this sort of energy? So I do kind of regret that. So I'm glad that I did this live stream to kind of cap off the night and kind of center myself back into the space that I'm comfortable with, if that makes sense. Sorry, I just totally like switched stuff up. But I saw like clips of it on Twitter and I was just like, yikes. Cause for me, I deal with so much like anxiety and negativity, and there's so much out of it in the real world that it's like I have to focus on the positive. And I think you can focus on the positive and negative at the same time, but you don't want to dwell on the negative all the time. So it's like, I always try when something really negative happens, or when I deal with something like that, to kind of find something to center myself back into it. Whether it be a TV show, a book, or even just hugging my cats and just taking a second to be like, this is something that makes me feel really comfortable. So again, thank you for being here so that I can kind of center myself again and have fun with that, because that's always a bonus when you can kind of walk out of that fire and into a nice warm bed and just be comfortable. Let's see, we got some cosplayers on my feed. Digital painting, ooh, that's pretty. Editing. See, all the British people are asleep, I can tell. But that's okay, because sometimes they'll be awake at like 3 in the morning for them. And I'm about to go to bed at that time. So I'm like, what are you doing awake? Because I'm about to go to sleep. So you should definitely be asleep. And again, it's like a mom instinct. I'm like, what are you doing up? You should go to bed. You should get off your phone. But now, then I can tell, like, all the British people are asleep. And it's like, okay, you sleep well. Like, I feel happy for them. I'm like, I hope you're getting a good amount of sleep. Nathan, you're British? No! Reverse among... No! What are you... Okay, 2 p.m. I thought that said 2 a.m. Okay. You get a pass. Nathan, you're a joy to have here. But if I end the stream and you don't go to bed right away, I'm gonna be not mad, just disappointed. But you also said the way certain YouTubers within this fandom thrive off of such negativity is very exhausting too. It really is. And at the end of the day, it's also like, you don't want to give people that... Kevin just chucked my high school diploma at me. He's agreeing, I'm assuming. You don't want to give people that attention. You don't want to give people that platform that they deserve. Because the guy whose live stream I was on literally said, he was like, you don't have to like me. You just have to be here. Like, he was talking about, like, this is the best numbers I've ever gotten. Which I don't think we should have helped him reach that goal. But for them, that's really all it is. It's like, how can I... Because negativity is so easy, is the thing. I mean, for a lot of people, negativity really is so easy. And sometimes it's even easy for me. I think it's easy for everybody. Especially during these times and with negative emotions being so easy for our body to feel. It's so easy to find negative stuff. And just to be like, this will get a reaction out of people. This will, like, someone will either really agree with this, and then I've got someone on my side, or someone's gonna really disagree with this, and then I've got someone to fight, or someone to carry out this, like, to keep the negativity ball rolling. Whereas I feel like positivity feels so much better because it takes so much more effort. Because it takes that happiness and that love to continue passing that on. Because again, it's so easy to watch a movie and just be like, it's just a movie, or oh, I didn't like that movie too much. It's another thing to really think about it and think like, what did I get out of this movie? What did I enjoy about it? What is there to appreciate? And so that's why I like more positivity-based content, because it's like, it does take more effort to see the positive. And it does take more effort to formulate your positive thoughts, because it's a lot easier to say I hate something because you don't always have to justify why you hate something. Whereas if you say that you really like something, you kind of have to justify it. Like, here, I like it because of this. But to me, that makes it all the more special because there's more thought involved. And I don't know, I so much more appreciate hearing the things that people love and why they loved it, why it got a positive reaction out of them, why it was so special to them, than hearing just, I didn't like it so much. Someone said super cozy. I hope you're cozy. I hope you're all cozy right now. Nathan says, it's much easier to profit off too, which only increases the reach it has, so it's much harder to ignore it. Which is another agree, again, because negativity is so easy. And I think when people hear that, they think that, like, people who say that are coming from a place of, like, oh, you shouldn't be negative. That's not true. We need negativity. We need, like, I totally forgot the word because Kevin's, like, really cute right now. We need constructive criticism, and it's always going to be there. But the thing is, I feel like people hear negativity, and that's all they stick with. Like, if they hear a negative review of a movie or episode, they kind of just stay along that path, and are just like, oh yeah, it's, you know, they just stay on that negativity path and keep that opinion. Whereas if someone hears a positive opinion, they might be like, oh, like, I haven't heard that a lot, why? And again, because you have to justify it more, you're kind of absorbing more of that, because there's been a lot of times where I've heard negative reviews, and so I'm like, maybe I won't see that movie, or I do feel like it influences how I watch the movie. Like, if I hear a movie is bad before I go into it, I kind of get this feeling that maybe I should feel that it's bad, or maybe I'm missing something, and that's why I don't think it's bad. But I always try to move past that, and I'm like, well, what did I like? What is there to like? Because there's a lot of things where there's always going to be something that you like. There's always going to be something you dislike and something that you like. But I feel like it's always special when you give that time to the things that you like, and you let it grow and you let it develop, and you just kind of carry that with you instead of carrying the negative all the time. And I think it's just healthier, like, from a genuine psychology standpoint. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Adelson, you said, man, Brit, Twitter is just hot weather, hot weather, hot weather. I did hear it's very hot over there. Where I live is the opposite climate change. It's getting very cold here. We used to have very hot summers, and it's been pretty cold all summer, which is, I mean, I don't like the heat, so it's not that bad, but from a climate standpoint, it's terrible. Let me see, what is the weather in London? It is 63 degrees, well, it's 3 a.m. Let's see what time it's supposed to be at 4 p.m. tomorrow. Oh, so it's about 80 degrees Fahrenheit for you guys, or about 27 degrees Celsius. So yeah, 75 degrees Fahrenheit, so that would be about 20 degrees Celsius. That's about my limit. Like, if it gets 75, it's like hide in your homes, hot for me. So that is very unfortunate. I know that you guys are also having a heat wave right now. My advice would be shut all of your blinds. I know that air conditioning isn't as prevalent for you guys there. I would hope you have fans. I would assume you have fans. But my main advice would be to close all your windows and blinds, keep them shut, pretty much black out any light from the outside world, because that's what really helps over here when things get really hot, is to block out the sun and to drink lots of water. Like, drink enough water to the point where you won't, like, die, but you will start to feel like water is gross, because you'll have that water in your system keeping you cool. Another trick I absolutely love is if you put cold water on the inside of your wrist. And even just, you can take an ice cube and literally just put it on your wrist, and it calms your body so well. I don't know the exact science behind it, but I've always lived by that method of just putting cold water or an ice cube on the wrists and just sort of letting myself focus on that cool temperature. It just cools down my whole body immediately. So I would definitely recommend that if you guys are going through a heat wave. Let's see. A lot of comic book art. I've been mostly like lurking on Twitter these days because I haven't had a lot of things to talk about Doctor Who wise because I haven't been watching it a lot. I've actually been watching a lot of anime lately. And so I always kind of just lurk on Doctor Who Twitter and I'm like, what are you guys talking about today? What's going on? Let's see, a lot of movies. Oh, I felt this tweet. It says, hearing my own voice on recording makes me want to apologize to every single person I've talked to. I feel that. I've tried to do some voice acting stuff in the past. And I have fun with it, and I do enjoy doing it, and that's why I keep doing it. But I have the hardest time because I just cannot listen to myself. Like, the recordings of myself, like, I have to do it, of course, to edit the clips and pick which take I want to turn in, but I absolutely hate hearing my own voice. I just think it sounds more, like, so different than it actually sounds. Internally, my voice sounds very deep, and a lot smoother, and then I listen to it back, and it's a lot higher pitched than I would think. And it just, I have, like, my own version of what I think I sound like, and so I listen to a recording, and, I don't vibe with it. It's so difficult. Here in Brazil, it is really hot most of the time, like 30 degrees Celsius on normal days. Let's do a quick conversion. Degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. 86 degrees Fahrenheit. That's crazy. That's like where I live. That's like record temperatures. That I could not imagine having to do that daily. Nathan says, I'm always overthinking how stupid my voice sounds, so I always blunder what I'm saying. It's annoying. That's a big problem for me as well. I know we've been talking repeatedly about how I fumble a lot or I have to re-say things. What happens a lot of the time in my videos when I'm recording them or even on this stream is Kevin, hang on, Mike. Kevin. I'm filming. He's grooming himself. Kevin, please, hang on. Can you please do that in the living room? Please, thank you. Sorry. I saw him in the corner and I was like, but yeah, that happens a lot is I will mess up and then it'll take a couple seconds for my brain to mess up, I will mess up and it takes a few seconds for my brain to sort of catch up and realize that it happened. So I'll mess up and then I will, just keep going, but then I'll reach a point after I keep going where I'm like, wait, go back, like, you just messed up, even if it wasn't that noticeable. And then it's like, I've stopped, I have to redo it, when in actuality I probably could have just kept going. again, that's a benefit of the live stream, is you just have to keep going. But when I do videos, it's definitely like, I'll mess up a sentence and then not realize it until a minute later. It also makes editing hell, because then I can't tell which takes I messed up and which ones I didn't. I have to, like, watch every single second of content I recorded, because I'm like, which one of these did I suss out the mistake? It's so funny. It almost makes me wish I kept, like, some of my, like, raw video footage to maybe release, like, bloopers or something. Just because I think it's also interesting to see, like, because I try to take note of what I mess up, just from, like, a speech standpoint, so I can improve on it. But for storage reasons, I don't keep anything. I don't even keep the videos that I post once they're posted. I do want to start, though, just in case I ever lose them. But for the most part, once the video is edited, once it's posted, every bit of raw footage or content leaves my phone. Shrek Swag, you're back! You said, you've got a good voice, don't worry. I have a good voice too, only problem is my terrible hairline, as on display in the stream tonight, haha. Hairlines, you know what, hairlines are overrated. Because the thing is, like, when you're a human, the second you turn, like, 18, it just starts going downhill from there. So I feel like we as a society need to approach, like, receding hairlines or bad hairlines more, because, like, we all have weird hairlines when it comes down to it. Like, our heads are just eggs. Like, I look like Bald Perry right now. And so we're all in this together, just like the speech thing. So I don't think you have to worry about that too much. I don't think you should feel bad about that. Now, I forget, which part of the stream were you on? Because I was kind of, like, going in and out. Yes, let's all be eggheads for a minute. In solidarity. But for me, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I kept cutting in and out of the stream because I kept going back and forth, like, should I really be here? And also just because they kept going in circles and I kept zoning out. I was like, what is happening? So if you could just remind me, like, what part of the stream you were in, or kind of, like, what was the topic? Because, again, for those of you who weren't there, there was a part of the stream where they just sort of started playing, like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle ad clips, and I was like, what is happening? And then I couldn't, like, hear anything. It was a weird night. But it was, I mean, I'm glad that some people joined just to kind of speak their minds and call people out, but in the future, I think I will avoid just kind of doing something like that again, because as funny as it was temporarily, at the end of the day, it's like, it's funny for us, for them, it's just kind of content, fodder. It was bizarre. The ads were catchy, I will admit that. I was kind of bopping it to some of the commercials they were posting. I was just a little confused as to, why they were there. At first I thought somebody like Davis was, like, doing it as a joke, but I don't think they were. I think that was, like, the dude who was running the live stream did that, and I was like, why? Like, I thought it was a troll, and then it wasn't, and I was like, oh, this is real? And why is it real? It was very confusing. I was like, how do we even proceed forward? And I think that was the point where I was like, maybe I'll join just to make this more interesting, or just to kind of, get my friends back centered. But yeah, that was weird. Vimeo is really useful to stock personal videos. They have week limits for uploads, but you can pretty much upload anything within that limit every week. I might have to check that out. I've thought about just putting stuff on, like, a USB drive, just so I can have it. Hi. Hi. What's up? She's so cute. She just melts into me like a baby. Did you enjoy tonight's stream? Did you enjoy Mama having to pick you up repeatedly? It's so funny because Nico is a very loving cat, but it always has to be on her terms, which I get. It's just funny because I'll pick her up sometimes and she'll just kind of look at me like, who are you? Like, I don't want you to pet me right now. And then I'll be sitting down at my desk doing something, and she'll be all over me trying to cuddle and get pets, and it's just like, this is the wrong time, wrong place, but I'll let it slide because she's such an angel. You are so cute. Cats are very therapeutic. Because cats, the thing is, they just exist to be loved. They just exist to be loved and cared for, and to, like, have little adventures. And I just feel very privileged to be able to be that love and that care for not only one cat, but 4 cats. And because the thing is if you love them and you care for them, they love and care for you in return. And that's the extent of the relationship, is you just provide mutual love and care. And it's like, I can't complain about that at all. So that's my wholesome little cat mom moment for tonight's stream. I do want to do a video, maybe like introducing each cat, but the problem is that, like, I have so many photos and videos that it's hard to organize, number one, but it's also like, sometimes I think they know that I'm recording them, because they'll do something very funny or very wholesome, and then the second I turn that camera on, they just like stop. And it's like, I don't know how you knew that I took that camera out, but I respect your boundaries and I will not film. But it's just funny. She's just like totally flopped over in my arms right now. I think the cats are getting confused because usually I'm in bed around this time. Because I feel like an old man when it comes to bedtimes. I cannot stay up late anymore, so I think they're all kind of like, why aren't we in bed? Because they all like sleep in bed with me, they all cuddle me. And they're like, I think Nico especially is like, why aren't we in bed right now? So I might log off in like a few minutes, but I'll hang out for a bit more, because I think the cats are like, number one, why haven't we had our nightly feeding yet, and number two, why are we not in bed cuddling you yet? Nathan said, as a dog owner of my entire life so far, I'd love to get a cat when I'm older. They're awesome. Cats are great. You also said, though I'd hate to have an outdoorsy one, because I'd probably be worried the entire time not knowing where they are. I am a massive advocate for only keeping cats indoors if you own them. Because the thing is, outdoor cats, I mean, you're right, you'd be worried the entire time because their lifespan is so at risk, because there's cars, there's other animals. The chances of them getting a disease, such as fleas or worms, is astronomically high. For example, Nico, when we took her in, she had fleas and worms really bad. And then there's also violence with other cats you have to take into account, and you have to make sure that they're neutered, because if there's stray cats and they get together, I mean, it's just like they populate so much, and then you have more cats that are out there that don't have homes, that are at risk. Like, it's just a never-ending cycle. So I am a massive advocate of only keeping cats indoor. They could be abducted. That's the thing, is like, you have to keep tabs on your cat. Collars can fall off. You can get microchips, but they're expensive. Like, there's just so many factors in terms of the safety of your cat, where, like, I would only ever have a cat inside. And I just saw Clipdick said that your kitten got hit by a car a while ago. I am so sorry to hear that. I lost a dog to a car accident a couple of years ago as well, and it is so hard, because it's like, just losing them in that way, and especially if it's an animal that's, oh, she is, okay. I actually lost my dog, but I'm glad that your kitten is still alive, especially if it was a kitten that got hit by a car. I'm very happy to hear that, because that sounds like it would be very destructive, so I'm happy to hear that she's alive, and I hope she's doing well, because that would destroy me. I laughed because with the night I took Nico in, I actually almost hit her, because I was pulling into my driveway and she ran out, like, right underneath my tire. But thankfully, I'm like, I will never have that on my conscience, so I slammed on the brakes, and I was like, we're not doing this. And got out of my car and I was like, hey kitten, like what are you doing in front of my car? And then I just kind of started petting her and she was cuddling all up to me, and that's how I got Nico. Because she was just a stray kitty and she was so tiny, and I was just like, all right, I'm glad I didn't accidentally hit you with my car. I'm glad that you're now in a safe environment where you won't run out in front of cars. But yeah, if she was 1 and she got hit by a truck, that is a very resilient kitten. And I'm very happy that she's okay, because especially if they're of a small size, car accidents like that are rough. I'm on a lost cat page because I seem to attract stray cats. That's why I have 4. And so I always just keep an eye out, especially because so many people in my area lose cats, especially if they're outdoor cats. And I see a lot of kittens that unfortunately pass away because they get hit. And it's crushing every time, because it's like you always see your cats in that, and you always feel that as a pet owner, and you just feel for them. So it's very hard to hear when people lose their pets that way. So I'm very happy that you didn't. I rescued a dog a while ago and he refuses to just stay in. Every time he's out, I'm paranoid that something will happen. That can happen a lot, especially with rescue animals. With all the strays I took in, there was that adjustment period where they only wanted to go outside, and I almost felt bad for keeping them in, because it's like, you were outside, I feel bad taking away from that, but again, it's like a safety thing. It's like I have to keep you in for your safety and for the safety of my other cats when it comes to diseases. Raptor says, you're gonna go to bed. Good night, and it was a super cozy stream. I hope you sleep well. I'm glad that it was a cozy stream. That's always the vibes I want to give, is I just want to be calming and cozy and positive, because there's not enough of that. Everything today is so much like thrown at you and it's just like boom boom, or it's like negative. Sometimes it's just like, I just want to sit in my desk chair with a cat in my lap and not know what to talk about. It's always kind of nice not to know what to talk about, because then you have to come up with stuff and it's a lot more fun. Cliptic says, after that she was scared to go outside, she just stayed inside and ate. She's a bit of a large cat now. That happened with Kevin. It wasn't a matter of him eating a lot. I think it's just a personal... Ow, Nico just bit my hand. She thinks I'm insulting her brother. I'm not. Because some animals and some people are just, I feel like, designed to be a little bit bigger. And so he was always fed the same as any other cat. It's just that he mostly gained that weight, but it seems to have slowed now. I do think a lot of it was just adjusting to having an indoor cat diet. But I don't mind, because there's just more of him to love. And as long as it's not an unhealthy weight, I'm fine with it. So Nico she's a little bit of an ankle biter, in that she's always, if you don't pay attention to her, but she's in your lap, she'll always bite your hand or claw at you, which is fun. My mom says I should stop spoiling the cat so much, but I can't. Yeah, I like cats living for 20 years. To me, I love that, because I think about these cats, and I've had them, I think one of my cats I've had for 5, the others I've only had for a year or 2, and it's like, it's so hard to imagine my life without them, and the idea that I would have these beautiful, fun pets with me for so long feels like such a blessing, and it's like, if I get to have Nico cuddle in with me for 20 years, if I get to have little Kevin jumping up on my desk for 20 years, even just 10 years, it would be the greatest thing. Like, I have so much love for these animals, and they're so cute. And there's so much of them to love. My 4-month-old puppy never stops biting me. I've got marks all over me. They do have that phase. It's a thing where it's hard, because you don't necessarily want to tell them to stop, because it's just, for a lot of animals, that's how they show love. You know, for Nico, that's how she kind of just says, like, hey, I'm here. So it's not like a violent thing. If it's a violent thing, you know, that can become a problem. But if it's just like a cute little nibble, it's like, I kind of let it slide because it's just funny. Because, like, again, that's how they communicate. They're just like, hey, notice me. And then they take a small chunk out of your arm. But you wouldn't do that, would you, Nico? Alright, I think I am going to go to bed. I do have to work tomorrow, and I can definitely hear Kevin and Samson getting restless in the kitchen, because I think they just want to eat and go to bed. And yeah, now Nico is, like, clawing at things. But it has been a great time. I totally just started this because I was like, I went live, I'm gonna carry on from what I was doing earlier. And then it kind of became, yeah, just this really comforting, cozy stream. And so I've had such a great time with you guys tonight, and thank you for being here. Cliptic said David Warner passed away. He did this morning, and yeah, that's really rough. He's such a great actor, and it's always hard just to hear about anyone losing their life. So yeah, I do send a lot of love to his family, to Lisa Bowerman, to anybody who knew him, admired him, because it's always hard to hear that news and to wake up and to have to internalize that. So I do send a lot of love to everybody who was affected by that, and yeah, it's always hard to deal with a loss like that, especially somebody who was so influential and so powerful in everything that they did, because it's just hard to process that, and it's hard to think that that's something that really happened. So yeah, I was very shocked this morning when I found out that he passed away, and yeah, sending love to everybody who was affected by that, and sending love to all of you guys. Thank you so much for being here with me tonight and for just hanging out. I had a great time just hanging out, just talking on stream. And yeah, it's been great talking about positive things with you guys, answering some questions, and I do anticipate doing this again in the future. Maybe I'll kind of, as I fall asleep tonight, kind of brainstorm some topics. And if you do want to check out my Twitter at Protagonist Ivy, what I'll do is I'll come up with a poll, and then I'll, like, have people vote for what I want to cover that night. That way there's always, like, something I can pull out of my sleeve, or something I can figure out that you guys want to talk about. But yeah, it's been great, and thank you guys so much for making this such a great first live stream. And oh, it's like my internet knows that I need to go to bed because it just started loading. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you have a great day, night, afternoon, sleep, whatever time it is for you, or whatever you happen to be doing after this. I hope that you guys can kind of carry this cozy energy with you and positive energy with you throughout your day. Or if not, if something happens to kind of interrupt that, you can recenter yourself and find it again. And have a great night. Goodbye. I don't know how to end this. I just realized. Hang on. How do I end this? Hang on. I'm exploring. Do I just, like... Oh my god, it's on my phone. That's why I can't, because I'm watching... Okay. This has been great. Thank you.